I figure learning from you guys is going to be the best.
Well, I hope it's good for you.
And we have this guy over here, Josh. He has beehives over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. So when we was coming down, I thought maybe we was headed in that direction. Yeah, so first thing we want to do is go ahead and take these supers off. They won't be ready for them for a while.
Well, that's what I was thinking because my husband had a heart attack a few weeks ago, a month ago.
Yeah.
And then he got COVID. It's just been then we had to sell the cows, and it's just been one thing after another.
Well, it sure smells good, these hives. So take about 5 frames. You can take 7 frames out, and we'll end up putting 2 frames back on the bottom box. But we'll you have them facing south, so that's a good idea.
I read that.
It's up to you.
Okay.
If you want to leave that queen excluder on top, you can. It's up to you.
I'm a retired school teacher.
Oh. And what class was you teaching today?
Actually, I teach a Bible class at church.
Yeah.
But I also substitute teach. I did substitute middle school on Friday. Oh my gosh. I was gonna kill myself. I'm like, you guys are horrible.
Yeah. Get that age, you get to wondering why you had them.
I know, and then I was trying to think, did I act that way?
Right.
I probably did, but
I know that I was not, when I hit teenager, me and my mama kind of went sideways.
they just don't hush.
Yeah.
They talk.
Right.
Oh yeah, I remember getting sassy for sure. And I smoked at school, and
Did you?
I got in trouble too.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah, I know it.
How many did you say leave 3?
Take 7 out. We'll end up putting 2 back. And so so when you line your hives up straight like this, what's usually going to happen is that the bees end up going to the hives on the end.
Okay.
So if you would do like a horseshoe shape, then that will kind of be a little bit different.
Okay.
But it's up to you. I understand what you did here. You've got a north wind block here, and you're facing south, so that's good. So it's up to you whether you want to. If you notice that there's way more bees on the outside than the inside, you just simply switch hive positions.
Okay.
And
they'll be okay if I'm.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is, well, you're going to have to pick it up and move it. But,
right.
By the way, we may need to get these out because you don't want them getting too hot, shut up in a hive and being too hot. But yeah, the best time to move bees for me is at night. So pick that up, and this is lesson 1 on beekeeping is how heavy is your hive.
Okay.
Now when you've got it on that stand over there, you just walk up and pick it up like that. But this way you get the full weight of it, and that's
okay.
Yeah. You want it to have some weight to it.
Yeah.
And just go ahead and put it over there in front of one of the hives.
So even though we put them in a hive, that doesn't mean they'll stay in it?
Right, they could, most of the time, if their queen is there, they're going to stay there.
Okay.
But they do something we call absconding. If they get varroa mites real bad, they can abscond. Go ahead.
So,
what's that? It's got staples at the top.
These all have a queen in them already?
Yes, ma'am. I verified everyone having a queen in them.
Well, I read like where they have the little queen box and you have to acclimate them to it. And
so these, the difference on a nuke and an introduced queen is that's the queen of those bees in that box.
Okay, so that's a good thing, right?
Right. When you buy packaged bees, they'll send you a queen that is not. That's wide open here. that is not kin to those bees.
Okay.
And so sometimes the bees don't want to accept that queen, but it's a very small chance. By the time they ride here from Georgia, you know, ride all the way over here from Georgia in a postal van or whatever, airplane, they get acclimated to that queen and they take her.
Oh, okay, because that's where I had actually saw the order from.
Yeah.
I thought I'm just going to do it from local.
Well, you can't you can't have a nuke shipped like you can a package of bees.
Really?
They're in a screen.
Yeah.
Like your suit. It's all screened, so they can't get out. So just to we're gonna go by and open each one of these.
Okay.
So I told you if the outside hives get way more bees than the inside, you can move them.
Okay.
And they, the outside bees will, your bees that have less in the center, if you move that to the outside, all those foragers are going to go back to that hive.
Okay.
So they don't know any different.
Right.
But when they get there, they might say, well, it smells a little different in here, but same place. So this is our address. This is where we live.
Okay.
But they won't get angry about you moving them like that. Now, if you come up and, you know, of course, knock the box over,
then they're going to get mad.
They're not going to be happy about it.
So if I do the horseshoe, do I still need to face this part out to the south?
Well, it being the horseshoe, so your southern exposure is usually in front of you. So you've got more than 2 or 3 hives. So if you horseshoed, you would still have a north wind block, except for 1 or 2 hives over here. If you just came down a little further on the fence line, maybe be different. You could turn this hive just a little.
Okay.
And then bring this hive out here, and then bring this hive over here.
Okay.
And do the same thing, but you're still getting a southern exposure.
Okay.
So their brood nest needs to be 94.9 degrees. The more help you can get from the sun during the winter, the better it is. But of course, you know how it is in the heat. It's good that you have some that you have them out here in full sun, because the hive beetles, there's a hive beetle that don't like full sun. When it pupates, it goes out into the ground and gets into the sand and then comes back to your hive. They don't like full sun because then they'll fry on their way out of the box into the sand. So that's a good thing there. I know one guy who puts stock salt in front of the hives for those little larvae to get in and be killed by.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been reading a lot about
diatomaceous earth is not something I recommend, because it's not good for anything with the exoskeleton. You know, so I kind of say stay away from that. Have you lit your smoker?
No.
Okay, let's go through lighting this smoker.
I bought all the tools, but I don't even know what they're for. But I know what the smoker's for, but I have never lit it, used it, nothing. And does that just kind of put them in a trance?
Okay, so the myth is that that you'll smoke your hive and the bees will think that their house is on fire, and they'll grab everything that they can and leave. And the only thing they can grab is honey. But the scientific explanation is that the smoke covers the pheromone, the alarm pheromone. So we want to try to deal with the scientific area of it a little bit more. But I have spouted the same myth, and I have said it like it was true gospel, you know, but I've learned otherwise. It's a good theory, but, you know, when back in the times of Aristotle and everything, you know, those men were supposed to be, you know, and they were very intelligent, but they thought that the drones were the queens.
Oh. Yeah,
so it took a long time for them to figure out that that's not, the drone was just the male of the hive. So this is pine straw.
Oh, okay.
You can use, I use cow manure.
Really? I got
pink.
plenty of that.
Oh yeah, and dried out is the kind. And so, so if you're going to use cow manure, it's got to be a pretty hot fire. Think about living in Wise County, always dry. You know, we tell people to be really careful about running your smoker because you don't want to catch anything on fire. Right. For a while, I carried around one of those pump-up fire extinguishers.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah. You don't want to be the beekeeper that sets everything on fire.
No.
And so this pine straw, it lights real quick. It makes a lot of creosote in your smoker. Some people don't like that. I like that it lights real quick and then it's cool. So before I used stuff like that giant ragweed, when it would dry out, I'd crumple up the sticks and put it in there, light on fire, worked great. But then I see my bees shuddering every time I smoked them.
Yeah.
And that was because it was burning.
Oh.
So you got to be careful. And with that said, if you think you're throwing out embers, then you put grass, green grass, if you got any, up in that cone.
Okay.
So this is less of a chance of that happening. Embers flying out, I mean.
Okay.
With a hotter fire, and this thing will get hot. I mean, I've had a pair of gloves on. This is called a finger guard right here. It's separate from the can. That can, if you touch that can, it will burn you bad. I've seen leather gloves
melt,
just crispy.
Yeah.
You know, where you can't hardly get them on your finger.
Wow.
These smokers sometimes.
Yeah, we have a wood burning stove, and it looks just like the pipe that goes up.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very hot.
Yes, ma'am. So you just, before I do anything with them, I kind of get them smoked.
Okay.
I usually light my smoker before I put my suit on. So I know that the smoker ain't gonna go out. The number one problem of beekeeping is everybody thinks, I can light a fire. Ain't no big deal. And your smoker goes out.
Gotcha.
Midway between whatever you're doing. And then the bees get mad. And then you get upset. And then you might run off. So you got to make sure that you got plenty of fuel in your smoker and that it's going.
Okay.
But if it's white smoke, white smoke means you've got good oxygen and good fire going. Blue smoke means you're starving. You're either starving fuel or starving for oxygen.
Okay.
So if it turns blue, if you puff it and it's blue, then you need something. You either need more oxygen or more fuel, one or the other.
And you're not putting, I noticed you're not putting tons in there. Are you going to put tons in there in a little bit? Or more smoke in the bees? You're going to smoke them more?
Not unless they really need it. You can over smoke them.
Yeah.
What I will do though is I will take a chunk of
what happens if you over smoke them?
They can get irritated.
Okay.
And then the smoke is no good for you because they're already mad at you. So
then I just go jump in the truck.
Hang
out for a while.
If it gets aggressive, the best place to go is that pickup. Roll the windows up, turn the air conditioner on, and keep your suit on. And if they and then open the window that's exposed to the sun. Just a crack.
Okay.
Just enough for them to be getting out.
Okay.
They're not going to like that air conditioning, and they want out.
Because they're going to be on me.
Right. Yeah. And pull in the shade. If you pull over under that tree, bees, you know, a lot of times when they get in the shade, they want to get back out in the sun.
Okay.
So you're asking a great question. Hive tool, you have a hive tool?
I have all kinds of tools.
Okay.
You might have to tell me which one's what. We're supposed to, I think we're going to do it on November the 4th. Oh, we are the 4th? Yeah, people, somebody said, hey, you know, Veterans Day is November the 11th. So. Oh, yep, that's true. And I only had, everybody could make, you know, more people could make the 11th. I only had one that she just couldn't do the 4th. So all these tools came, this looks like what you might pull the frames out with. So you hang this on the side of your hive for it's called a frame holder. So when you're working your bees, put that there and you put your frame here. Oh, okay.
because a lot of times
That makes sense.
what I do, I put it down here,
Uh-huh.
I kick it. It don't do any good.
Yeah.
If the bees are on it, they're gonna be mad.
Yeah.
So that won't help you.
I bought all these boxes unassembled.
Yeah.
I put them all together. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll never do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a big chore, isn't it?
Yes.
Now you know what I bet I did? I think I left my drill. Might have to try these things open. Oh, I got it. Thank goodness.
Yay. Yeah, here's the smoker.
Okay.
Like I said, the top one's on.
Yeah, it all is. I mean, Pakistan on most of the suits and China for most of the tools.
So I don't know what's what. You'll just have to.
This is a actual frame grabber.
Okay.
And then this is what's called a Boardman feeder. I don't recommend this kind of feeder. It goes in the entrance, and so you wouldn't be able to have your entrance reducer in there.
Oh, okay.
And it goes like that.
Uh-huh.
You can put a reducer across here, but robber bees will just go to the edge, go in. They don't have to go this far to get in there and start taking syrup.
Really?
If his bees get over there, get hungry, his bees are look like they're strong over there. Just the size of the hives, and they figure out that this is a food source. Then you're gonna have a robbing problem, and they will kill each other. So keep your entrance on this small one for a while till it might even be that way all winter long. And it's probably for the best, because you don't want a mouse to get in there. So I would not use this.
Don't use that. Okay.
Except for water. If you want to use it for water, then you could use it for water.
Okay. And normally we have a nice little tank down there, but we have no water now.
I'm not sure what that is. I've never seen that. But this is hive tool. This is my preferred hive tool, the J-hook. This is a hive beetle trap. You put oil in it so the hive beetles crawl in there and die. So that's a good thing. And that hangs on the side of your frames. I think you can't, it takes away one frame out of the unit. But best place to...
But is it worth it?
If you're having hive beetle problems, it is worth it. You want to have some kind of hive beetle trap. This is...
Those are legs.
Oh, legs?
I think they're legs that I could have put under the hive.
Ant-proof thing. The Varroa check is a good thing to have. They learn how to use that. This is an uncapping knife. That is probably just like an entrance. You know, see, if you wanted to put it on here and just have a little entrance there, and then you could turn it to close it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So, what we do first, we get a couple of hive tools here that I don't need. I need one. We'll see how they act on us. So I'll show you on the first one, then I'll do the other. So this is an apivar strip that's for Varroa treatment. So anytime and we just put that in, they'll need to come out in six weeks.
Okay.
Okay. So this is your feeder. And when I work bees, I always just take my feeder out and set it to the side.
Okay.
Okay. This is frame. I can feel it's kind of heavy. It's always helpful to have the sun behind you. You see that glistening? That is this is actually honey. These bees have not been fed any syrup.
Okay.
So this would actually be nectar, flower nectar.
Wow.
So this one, you know, put it in. Put it in there. Same thing with this. It's basically just transferring frames.
Okay.
So this is cat brood, and there's your queen. See her?
Yeah. How do you know that that's the queen?
See how much bigger she is than the others? Her abdomen's kind of dragging along. Yeah, that's how she has all those ovules in her to lay all the eggs.
Because I've seen them where like mark them with a pen or something.
You can do that. If you get too much ink on them, the bees sometimes want to try to scrub it off of her. and they're not very gentle with her about that.
Okay.
And if you get way too much on them, then it could hurt her. And so you wait till she's safe, out of the way. She's right there on the bottom.
And they're not even getting on you.
No. Usually in numbers like this, less than 40,000, 10, 15,000 bees, they're usually pretty calm. They get up around 40,000, then they're gonna be a little bit more territorial.
Okay.
And that's that's capped brood, and this is capped honey.
That is so cool.
Same thing on that side.
Wow.
And so there's 3,000 worker cells on each side of this frame.
Okay.
So if there's 3,000, and you as a teacher, you ought to be able to do this pretty quickly. How much brood do you have here?
Probably 800, 900.
Oh yeah, that's a good guess. I'd say 1,000. That's at least a third of the frame.
Uh-huh.
So you're expecting 1,000 bees to emerge in 8 to 9 days. On that side. Same thing on that side.
Oh wow.
So you're expecting a couple of thousand. Same thing on this frame here.
So when do they like come out of the?
The workers emerge on day 21.
Really?
This one's gonna have another 500.
Wow. Yeah.
And then she's laying again too. And so the reason you need to feed them is for these babies coming. They're all gonna need to eat.
Okay.
And then the babies to come after that. So right now, I don't usually recommend people buying nukes this time of year, but you had a situation where you needed to. So we know the queen's in there. So when I know the queen's in there, I just bump this on the ground and bump it there.
Okay.
Make sure everybody's out. Most everybody's out.
Does that make them mad?
It can be. I'm sure it is irritating to them. So you could, but most of the time it's not too bad. So on this strip here, we'll just put it back in between the brood frames.
Okay.
If I put it over here, it ain't doing no good.
Okay.
So you want it here next to the brood where it's going to kill the varroa mites, and any varroa mites that are on the bees that are walking around.
Okay.
So, and then you could put your feeder here, but you want them to draw out more comb on here.
Okay.
It takes 8 pounds of sugar syrup or honey to make 1 pound of drawn comb.
Okay.
So that's another reason why it's important to feed them. But for sure, if you see 2 bees spinning around on this board, deadlocked in a wrestling hold, they're fighting.
Oh.
And so, if that were to happen, and you thought your hive was losing, just close this off.
Okay.
Just make it where nobody can get in there. So,
okay. If they won't come out, they won't need to come out because they got their food in there, right?
Well, there'll be somebody. They're always going to go out. I mean, they cover 5,000 acres a day.
Okay.
So they're going to be going out. So if you want to leave that in, I'd leave it right there.
Okay.
Put that on, and then
save that other box for later.
Okay. And then save that box. I don't imagine you're going to need that box till sometime next spring.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. So the feeder, that's what you pour the water into?
The sugar syrup. Yes,
the sugar syrup, which I made.
And I usually put, these are open feeders. They don't have ladders. So usually I'll put grass. Now, it has to be dead grass, like hay. Or leaves or anything. Whatever you do, it's got to be dead because it will ferment.
Okay.
If it's green, then it'll ferment. So go ahead and turn your entrance. Get it swapped out right there. A good rule of thumb is your feeder is the first thing out and the last thing in.
Okay.
So you got a little bit of brood, got capped honey. This is pollen. The yellow stuff in there, that's pollen. They need pollen to feed the babies.
Okay.
So we're going to put, this is a brood frame, so we're going to put it to the inside. We want your brood nest to be in this area.
Okay.
There's your treatment strip. Got more brood.
And do I need to buy treatment strips? Keep those on hand? Or
No. So this treatment should be good. You should be good. You might take a look. Some people treat in the winter time, but this treatment should be good.
Okay.
Now, do you see the color difference in this? Let's make sure. Always try to keep your frames over the box in case the queen is on there. She gets upset. She runs, then she falls. At least she'll fall into the hive.
Okay.
So this color of comb here, you see the different colors of that brood from that brood?
Yeah.
That just means it's brand spanking new.
Okay, and it's older.
That's right.
Okay. And do you see the queen?
I don't see the queen here, but when I transferred all the frames last night, I saw the queen.
So you just trusting that she's in there?
Oh yeah. If they're queenless, they'll be upset.
Okay.
And there'll usually be a loud hum. Yeah. So I didn't see her on the frame, but she's very good at hiding. She could have been on one of the edges or something. She could be dark. I have a problem seeing dark queens. Orange queen's nest, that little bug right there, that's a hive beetle.
Oh, okay.
If I can get him. There you
Yeah, I see that.
See that thing running?
Yeah.
That's a hive beetle. So those are what you do not want. You know, 1 or 2, they can tolerate. 15, that's a problem.
What do? They eat the...
So they lay eggs in the honey, and then when the eggs hatch, it ferments the honey, and the bees abscond and leave. So I don't see her in there. So, and usually they would conglomerate around her. So we'll bump them and dump them.
And then this goes in the very end?
Put your feeder in there.
This is gonna be cool. I'm gonna enjoy this.
Is this this stuff? What do we do with that?
Oh.
Deal with the top
Yeah.
is.
I'll be everywhere until I figure it out.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I used to, whenever I first started, I'd take a couple of things over to the hive. Then I'd find out, I need to go back and get this and that. And I made the mistake of leaving my hives open when I did that. Yeah. And that would cause robbing, because bees can smell honey, and they'll come to it. So change your entrance reducer here. Now this is drone cell. See how much bigger that cell is there? It's all honey.
Oh wow.
But but that's typically where she'd lay drones. There is some drone cells there.
Okay.
But that's a lot of food. Fill that frame. So they can put about 11 pounds of honey.
That's crazy.
Into one deep frame like that.
Can the frames hold up to it?
Well, this one is all natural. This one doesn't have any kind of foundation.
Oh my, it sure doesn't.
It's not one that you'd want to spin in an extractor because it'd fly out of there. Now this is brood, pollen, honey, and you got a bunch of brand new bees. The lighter colored bees are brand new, like that one there. Take them about a week to dry out. They call them callow bees. And we'll take this one and put it, because this honey's on the outside, I want to put it on the outside of your nest.
Okay.
But we want that brood to be inside there. This one, you can you see those white little eggs in there in the cell? So you got to get the sun behind you. Let's make sure the queen ain't on this one. So we drop her off. So you get the sun behind you. And you look in those black cells. You see those little white marks?
Yes.
In the very center.
Yep.
Those are eggs.
Oh.
So that's what the eggs look like. And it won't be 9-10 days before that is, of course, you'll see the larvae in 5 or 6 days. 9-10 days, it'll be pupating, spinning the cocoon and pupating. Got a lot lot of brood here. We got much more brood here, so I want to put this frame next to the strip.
I really hope the tax people walk down here. I'm just kidding.
Well, some of them do. I hear there's a new lady with the tax office, and she's a little more
aggressive.
Yeah, I heard that yesterday. Yesterday I believe it was.
I think they get paid extra to be ugly.
You think?
Uh-huh.
I wonder what it is. You know?
I just don't know. It's like they hate life.
Yeah.
Why can't y'all be sweet?
Or want you to hate life.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which. Yeah, why can't y'all be sweet? But a lot of times I'll put a piece of wood in. So this one's probably got a piece of wood in it.
Yeah.
And it's just like a ruler or paint stirrer. Just something that'll float on there so they can.
Stand on it.
Yeah, so they won't drown.
Right. That's kind of what we did with the cow troughs.
Yes.
So did I put this on right?
You can go that way or the other way. I mean, there's really no wrong way.
Okay.
Where's your queen excluder and?
It's over here.
Okay. Well, I'll use this one real quick just to shut things up.
Okay.
Okay, you ready to do one yet?
Sure.
All right. So no matter what kind of top you're dealing with, sometimes you have to push it sideways like that because the propolis is going to be stuck to it.
Okay.
So that will help.
This does not want to.
You don't want to cooperate. Well, I love the colors that you painted.
Oh, thanks. We're trying to find something that was
So stand over here on this side.
Okay.
First thing out is your feeder. Last thing in is your feed.
Okay. And then I can just set these in there.
Yep. On that time.
I don't need to like inspect.
If you want to.
Or
It just helps you know what's there. You need a hive tool. So if it's sticky, you just take your hive tool and
pry it apart.
move it apart.
Okay.
There you go.
You have your video running?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about going to a beginner class. That'll be cool.
Yeah. Now, so yesterday evening when I was figuring out which nukes to bring in, they were bringing in yellow pollen like crazy. I don't know if it's from the giant ragweed or there's something with yellow pollen for sure. But this little ragweed out here, if we'll get some more rain, it'll make pollen for
All
them
that
too.
green stuff. Okay,
All right. So go ahead and when you put them in, go ahead and just slide them together real easy.
Okay.
So that try not to smash the bees. When you smash the bees, then that pheromone is put out and other bees get upset. A brush is a good thing to have.
Okay.
If you don't want to bang the bees around. They do everything by vibration. So that natural comb that I showed you, the drone comb, they communicate with that comb. It may be harder for them to communicate with the comb with plastic foundation, but they do everything off that comb. So you just want to pick up your box and get it in the sun where you can see. A lot of times I can see the queen from the side better than I can see looking on the frame.
That just takes some getting used to, doesn't it? Finding the queen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, I only wanted to bring you bees that I could confirm that I saw the queen in last night. So I went through about 30 nukes.
Can Yeah.
trying to
Aw.
trying to get 13. You needed 7. Another guy needed some. So I just broke my rule, which I'll always do. Last thing in the feeder.
And the other leftover frames, I just
This
save them for later. Or?
This is, yes. You might want to run double deeps. You might want another deep box in the future. If you do, then you'll need those frames. If you say, well, they got a lot of honey in here, but they don't have any room in the brood nest for her to lay, that's called honey bound or nectar bound.
Okay.
So you might want to take one of these that has been drawn out and give her a blank one.
Okay.
Give them a blank one. And you'll typically want to put it near the brood nest so they have more. They're more apt to draw that one out than they are one way on the outside. Unless they get into what we call a nectar puff.
Did it take you a while to get going on all yours?
Yes, ma'am. I had a book, and I think it's a great book. It's been a great lifetime book called The Beekeeper's Handbook. And but
I feel like I had that.
the problem was is that everything's in black and white. And I was kind of needing some colored pictures.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I was having queen cells being made swarm cells. And I didn't know what they were. So I couldn't quite figure that out. And you know, when you're doing something new like this, sometimes you got some indecision going on. And so then you decide to do nothing. Well, when you decide to do nothing and you got swarm cells, the bees are going to swarm, whether you do something
or not. Right. So can I take this off?
You can. It might be easier with the hive tool. I don't know what to do with
I got it off.
You got it?
And this guy is alive because I see his wings going crazy.
Right. Yeah, he's fanning, telling everybody come here. Yeah. So turn your lid up and see if there's queens on there. And typically I'll just go ahead and either brush them off, bump them in there so they can be off the lid.
Okay.
And come over here. First thing after feeder.
Last thing in feeder. I don't learn anything today. I'll learn that.
Yeah. One guy said he was upset about things we were doing in the bee club because he said it was redundant.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it's probably going to take some redundancy.
Wow, this one's heavy.
Yeah, it's full of honey, isn't it?
Yeah. So who was upset about it?
Oh, a guy that used to come to the bee club, yeah.
How many foot coming?
Yeah, he learned everything. He didn't know. He don't need to come back.
Well, you know, he's an expert.
You know how that is.
Oh yeah.
What'll happen is usually people will come for a while and they'll get confident that, hey, we know what we're doing. We made it. We got honey and we don't need to go back there. And then maybe a couple years later we'll see them and say at the bee meeting, they'll say, hey, how's it going? And, well, lost all my bees to wax moths. And so that usually wax moths don't kill a hive. They are the scavengers. They're the vultures that come and clean up all the wax after a hive is dead. So typically, what usually happens is the hive dies from varroa mite, and then they don't check it until the wax moths have gotten into it, and so that's the first thing they see. So they just equate that with a death from wax moth.
I have no clue if I see a queen or not.
Huh?
I have no clue if I see a queen or not.
Okay.
So, and that one's alive, right?
This one here on the side.
Is he just mourning that dead one?
I think his head got smashed.
Oh.
He's alive right now, but she won't be. But all these are girls.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen a boy yet.
How can you tell boy from girl?
The boys are much bigger. You remember that comb I showed you? It was much bigger. The boys are sometimes they're almost big as this thing.
Oh, okay. Wow.
They're very much bigger. done with the frame.
Guys need to be right next to each other.
The frames, yes. Yeah, if you leave space in between the frames, the bees will put combs there.
Okay.
And it will make it difficult. Get them all in there, switch them over good. And then get that last frame in. And this one, sometimes you have to squeeze it in.
Okay.
And the pink, the inner cover.
I always thought somebody, if they were really good with wood, they could make some good money building hives.
Oh yeah, yeah, we had it. When I first started going to the bee club, there was a guy that he didn't keep bees. He just came there and
Peddled his.
peddled his equipment. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
which you need them, but you got to have certain measurements inside the hive. You just
Yeah.
can't. You're just not making a box, you know. When you feed syrup, since you have a neighbor with bees over there, when you feed syrup, you need to be really careful about not spilling any syrup on the ground.
Okay.
Or
Oh,
spilling
you
it
know
on the hive.
Now the feeders I got, they in those slots,
Right.
they fit in there. But I mean that's what it said.
It's up to you.
I'm fine with it. They just said don't lift. Whatever what I read, don't lift the lid.
Well, you're gonna have to. As a regular beekeeper, I go in the spring, once every 10 days or so, just to make sure I don't have a bunch of queen cells. If I got the queen cells hanging off the bottom, then they want to swarm. I should have solved that by giving them room in the beginning, but things happen and life happens, and sometimes you don't get to that. It's just going to depend on how much maintenance you do and how curious you are. Now, if you come out here April, May, June, and there was no pollen going into the hive, you'll be able to see the pollen on the bees' legs. If you were to stand right here on this hive and you see your bees going in, you should be able to see the pollen on the legs. In the spring, it may be henbit, which is kind of a purplish, reddish purple color, and in the right now, it's probably going to be yellow. So you're looking to see what what they're bringing in, and if they're not bringing in anything, that's an indication that you need to take a look to see what's going on, because they bring in pollen because they need it to feed their babies. And if they're not bringing in no pollen and there's flowers blooming, something's wrong. They ain't got no babies.
So does it matter which end I bump?
I'd bump it on this end down here. Take a quick look. I don't see her. There you go. Yeah, just bump it on that end. And I do that end because of the opening on this end. Yeah. Yeah, bump it a little harder. I don't see no queen in there, so we try not to bump the queen as much as possible. You'll bump it on the ground first. Get them down there to that corner. There you go. There you go. Now 2 frames and your feet.
Now will some of these guys follow you back home?
No.
They won't?
No, because so when I move bees, they If you move them over 3 miles, then they're going to come out and know that they're not where they were and reset their GPS.
Okay.
Now, in a couple of weeks, we was talking about that cat brood down there. In a couple of weeks, you might come down here at 5 o'clock, and there'll be a bunch of bees out here flying back and forth. Now, flying back and forth, it can mean 2 things. Those bees over there trying to figure out how to get into your hive, or your babies have hatched or emerged, and they can now fly. They're week old, they can fly, and they're going to come out here and lock in their GPS.
Okay.
And then the next day, they're going to fly out a little further. The next day, a little further. Yeah. Push over a little bit, and then push that in. Yeah.
Just got a man here.
And you want things to be a little tight.
Okay. All right. So you do a lot of shows at the state fair or what?
At the Go Texan market, that food pavilion.
Yeah.
We sell honey in there.
Oh, okay.
All month. When you come to do your feed or anything, make sure these lids
Get on there real tight.
These lids don't have ventilation, a little ventilation hole in them. You might consider notching it.
Okay, I wondered about
so
that.
The air can come out. All the old hives had it. The new hives hardly any of them have it. So,
Okay.
Was it an obsolete thing that they did? I don't know. I do know this: bees will die from condensation being made by their heat, their body heat inside this hive, raining back down on them every day.
Really?
Yeah, and so I took a hive top, like one of these, and every day I checked it. It had at least 2 cc's of water on it. They don't sound like much, but over 30 days, that's 60 cc's of water.
Right.
That 60 cc's of water draining back down on them, raining back down on them on a daily basis. Cold outside, you get cold, you get wet, you shiver.
Yeah.
So when they shiver, they are creating heat, but they also lose energy. If they don't have no food to eat to replace that, then eventually they're going to start dying.
So they build honeycomb in their feeders?
And I leave it because it is a great way for them to get up and down. Other people do not like to leave it there because they're meticulous about it, or the queen. They're afraid the queen would get in there and lay. I mean, if she wants to get in there and lay, that's fine. I won't feed her in there. You could take mason jars, poke holes in them, and put them on top of these frames, and then put your honey super back on there, put your lid back on, and feed them that way. If you had to do it that way. No. Well, if you ever see them
Going at it?
in a wrestling hold now, so you came outside here. Let's put them back
The way they came.
Yeah, the way they came. Yeah, because you got your brood in there. Now, see them 2 bees?
Gotcha.
Those 2 bees are fighting.
Okay.
See them? Yeah. So for some reason, she got over here in this nuke, or she flew over from that hive. She don't recognize her smell. She said, "You gotta go." So they'll either fight until one of them stings the other, or they'll let go and the other one will get out of there.
Really?
Yeah, this is what your hive tool comes in for, just to be able to pry like that. And the J-hook part of it, you can pick up a frame if you need to.
So this one goes here.
Right.
I don't want to push any.
I know. Yeah, when your hive gets about 40,000 strong, you're probably going to kill about 50 anytime you go in. I mean, you just not going to be able to help it. So
How are you going to know?
We're going to squish this all over. What do you mean, how you going to know?
How are you going to know, like, when you have overpopulation? They kind of thin themselves out?
Oh, all these things will be full, and if you don't do anything about relieving some of that congestion, then yes, they will thin out by taking the old queen, half the honey, half the workers, and drones, and go over, go into some tree, usually within 250 yards, make another hive. They'll leave queen cells in here for her to emerge, go out and get bred, and then come back and have this hive. So European bees want to procreate and make more bees. Africanized bees want to devour the area and move on. They can move over 250 miles within their lifetime, but moving, 4 or 5 miles at a time. Yeah.
What kind of bees are these?
European.
European.
Yeah.
So I know I was reading about the Italian bees. And they were saying the African bees are the most aggressive.
Right.
Like, don't start with those if you don't have to.
Right.
You ever squish any of them when you're painting the box?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, you can't help it. I mean, they're bugs.
I don't know, but they just seem so...
They're helpful.
Is that good?
Yes, ma'am. You know where the feeder. All right, we got that introducer turned right. Yep. Here's your queen excluder.
And this keeps the queen out of that top box, correct?
Right.
So if you don't want her up here laying eggs,
Technically, what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to put honey up against that top line, and that's called the honey line. She's not supposed to cross the honey line and lay eggs. She don't always mind what people say.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so when you go to pull your honey, if you had one hive, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be too bad to go through pulling the frame at a time. But in these queen excluders, they might be better just to leave them off.
And that's fine. That's fine.
It might be.
But I won't put those
Could be
on till
easier
spring,
to go
right?
like
That
this.
way?
Yeah, you really don't need them till spring.
Okay.
Till if you had.
But the other bees can get up through
Full
there
boxes.
because they're smaller?
Yes, the worker bees could go up there, but you don't have an escape hole for them. And that's another thing.
And I need to get one.
The older beekeepers, they would drill a 1-inch hole into the top of their hive so that the bees could have an escape route. I had some bees over in Sunset, and so I wasn't going up there but about every 2 weeks. And make sure she's not in here. The bees, if I don't put these boxes back in the truck, they'll keep coming back here.
Coming back to the boxes.
Yeah, because they smell that queen. But I had, when I went there and looked at them, they were doing great. 2 boxes full of bees, and when I went back, they were dead. And the reason why was because the only entrance exit they had was blocked with bees, dead bees. So
Which that's what this is going to be, right?
it could be, yeah.
Because that's like the only entrance in it.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so I probably need to notch.
Now, right now, you got to have it like that because you can't afford for those bees to come over here and start robbing.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't put any essential oil in your syrup or anything like that. People do. There's something called Honeybee Healthy that can help you. You can make homemade Honeybee Healthy with essential oils.
Okay.
But you don't want to do that while they're weak and they're strong.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the syrup earlier.
Right.
Do I need to put it in those fingers today, or?
Oh, they all have plenty of honey right now.
They do? Okay.
Yeah, if you want to come back and do it tomorrow, or you can do it right now, whatever you want to do.
Okay, and you just pour it in there?
Just pour it in.
Like a quart or a pint?
I'd put at least half a gallon.
Half a gallon.
2 quarts in each one.
Okay.
See how they take it.
Okay.
Because what you need them to do is, so them babies are going to hatch, they're going to emerge, and about 11 days after that, they're going to be making wax cells.
Okay.
And so, but you have bees in there now that have already emerged mortality. And in about 11 days, they'll be making wax. So you want them to draw that in the brains out.
Okay.
So you want to give them some sugar.
Okay.
Now, I would give, right now, I give 2 parts water, 1 part sugar.
Okay.
But then, say about October 15th,
Okay. Wait, 2 and 1.
I'd go
2
2 sugar, 1 water.
And I did 2 sugar, 1 water today. Because I was reading it and
That's
it said
fine.
in the...
Yeah, and that's
Ball.
what you should do. I've just found that if I go with the, if I make it a lighter nectar, it's more like flower nectar, and that'll up that queen to laying. Right?
Gotcha.
And we want her to lay right now. But she needs to make a bunch of winter bees. That'll make it through the winter. The winter bees will last 3 to 6 months. The summer bees last 3 to 6 weeks because they're working so hard. Winter they're not working that hard.
Okay.
Okay.
Yay! I'm excited to come over and see all your hives.
Well, most of my hives are all over Texas.
Are they really? You
well,
just have them in different places?
Yeah, so whenever I started going to the beekeeping club, there was an older man there. And the reason why I started beekeeping was because my daughter she couldn't sleep through the night without without coughing. We give her a teaspoon of honey, knock her cough out. And as long as we give her honey, she slept fine. So I knew that's what I was going to be doing is I wanted to make honey.
Right.
Went to the bee meeting and this old man said, I hadn't made honey in 4 years. And I was like, what am I going to do? And so I learned real quick I was going to have to move my bees around to follow the bloom.
Gotcha.
So I don't, we send bees to California to pollinate almonds every now and then. We've sent 2 loads in the past 4 or 5 years. We weren't able to last year. It's good for the extra money. It's good to have a place to send the bees for them to go eat and come back strong and me to split them. But I can't always do it. And so, and do the fair and the stock show and all this, everything's going on at the same time. But I knew I was going to have to be a migratory honeybee and honey maker. So that's.
And I did see somebody advertise and they would bring bees to your place and charge you like, I don't know how much it was.
So most of their fees are running anywhere from $200 to $300, and my fee is $350 per hive, and so per year, and we lease. I lease them. But that's what I'm doing, and I've tried to stay out of it. But I've run out of reputable beekeepers to recommend. I mean, the demand has been so great that now I've just finally had to say, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. But I happen to have a lot of hives right now that I could do that with.
Right.
Where before wasn't necessarily true. And I really don't like managing. I got into managing people's bees that own the bees, and so they hadn't a certain expectation of honey from that. And the reason why I move my bees around Texas is because we're not making that much honey here. So when you expect that and you're not getting it, then you get kind of aggravated with me. And I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I warned you. It could be this way. I mean, some years in Wise County, you can make 5 gallons of surplus honey just for you. And the bees have plenty. In some years, your bees.
So do you recommend, well, that Randy back here, he has like 10 acres, no, 15, because he's wildlife exempt.
Right.
So we get deer in here, we get turkey, which is probably really good.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're just going to turn this into a wildlife sanctuary,
Sure.
to be honest. Do I need to plant stuff down here, do you think?
Yeah. If you're not going to have any livestock here, I would certainly look into planting hairy vetch. It's a very good source of nectar. You can plant it in the winter and have it come up. I would plant the regular native sunflowers around your fence line. Just take if you had a little drag plow or something, you don't have to plow the dirt. Just break it where you can throw the seeds in there and cover it back up. They have to be planted in the fall to scarify to come up in the spring, later spring. And then that's the only thing that's going to bloom for you in July and August. So Vitex trees is something else, July and August blooming. Cone flowers, your purple cone flower, echinacea. I went to that gardening thing over the weekend, and they said the roots on those go 5 foot.
Oh, wow.
So I always recommend native things because I thought that's the only thing that could survive our heat and drought. Well, the reason why is because the roots go deeper than the other things. So I didn't know that until recently, and I said, well, that makes a lot of sense. And I had no idea an echinacea root would go 5 foot in the ground.
I wouldn't think that.
No, but those things make really good honey. The honey's good for you medicinally. It's native, so I would do that. I like, if you can get the yellow sweet and white sweet clover to grow, those are good things too. anything with a multiple floret. So your cone flowers are going to have multiple florets. Indian blanket flowers, the fire wheels, they're good.
Okay.
But the Indian paintbrush, I have not seen any evidence that I've never seen a bee on an Indian paintbrush unless they just accidentally landed there. Maybe they were tired, you know.
Yeah.
but they don't like bees. Their proboscis is only 6 millimeters long, so they can't reach down deep in a lot of these flowers unless they can crawl down in it.
Right.
So that's going to be the deciding factor of can they get nectar from it.
Yeah.
If it's overflowing, sure.
Yeah.
But when it's not overflowing and it's way down in the tubule, then they can't get it.
And like trumpet vine?
They have to crawl in that, and I have not seen bees on trumpet vine, but I know another beekeeper that was working in Fort Worth. He's a telephone technician, and he was out working, and he said the bees were all over that trumpet vine. I've heard people say that bees were on honeysuckle, but I've never seen bees on honeysuckle, and the tubule is way too deep for it. Yeah, but you know, if it's overflowing nectar, they're going to be there.
Yeah, and we have crepe myrtles in our yard, and they cover those.
Do they?
I guess his bees are covering it. I
Probably,
don't know whose bees they are.
Yeah. So are they? What color crepe are they?
In the back we have white.
Yeah.
In the front we have pink and white and red. So all the
I know white. What is that? Natchez variety?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's called Natchez variety. The white has always been something that the bees go after.
Okay.
Elm trees. Good Lord, it gives off pollen like crazy, and the bees go after it. Oak tree pollen is lower in protein. They don't too much go after it, but they will. Mistletoe can be worked by bees. It only is blooming in November and February, I think. And the blooms are so small, you think, how do they get anything off of it?
Yeah.
But it's in the cotton family, and the cotton has extra floral nectaries that will give out nectar and don't have to be blooming. So I suppose that's where they get it. But I found it to be a really dark honey. It don't taste bad. You don't have any. We don't have a lot of snow on the prairie. But it's. I don't know if you know what that is, but its honey will burn the back of your throat. It looks beautiful. It makes a wonderful, pretty white comb because it's a profuse nectar supplier. And the bees do well with it. But humans pretty much have to just use it for burns and cuts because it'll just burn the heck out of the back of your throat. Yeah, it's like having heartburn.
So is that like a wildflower?
Yes,
Does it
that's
look like
native.
a white blanket?
No, it's about this tall.
Oh, okay.
And it branches out in growth, and the leaves look. At first they look green, then they look white. You think the leaves are the bloom, but actually the bloom is really small, little white, and with a yellow dot right in the middle. But you got to get up on it to see it.
Yeah.
But those are profuse nectar suppliers, and then broomweed. I've seen broomweed. This stuff here.
Yeah.
You see this little bitty flower? You'd think that wouldn't make nothing, but they make honey off of broom.
So leave that alone.
Oh yeah.
And leave all of that alone.
Oh yeah.
Good, because we were about to
Don't mow that.
Don't mow it.
That's gonna be a lot of pollen for these queens, and you're gonna need it, and your friends over there gonna need it too.
Okay, perfect. Yay, this is fun.
Yeah, we got a bunch of bees.
And I didn't even get stoned.
Good.
And I don't even know if any of them landed on me. Don't wear perfume down here, right?
You know, that's a debatable thing. I mean, I've not really found any kind of cologne or perfume that bothers me. You know, lavender. I might be cautious about lavender products.
Okay.
If anything, you know, I don't believe they'd hurt you over it. They just would be curious.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to classes.
Good.
It's gonna be exciting. I love new adventures.
I can tell.